recognizing the importance of forklift safety. When it comes to hiring drivers, act fast. And manufacturing with AI and automation. Pull up a chair and join us as the editors of DC Velocity discuss these stories, as well as news and supply chain trends on this week's Logistics Matters podcast. Hi, I'm Dave Maloney. I'm the Group Editorial Director at DC Velocity. Welcome. Logistics Matters is sponsored by Storage Solutions. Storage Solutions, a Young Heinrich company, is leading intralogistics integrator, helping companies design scalable, tailored solutions. From warehouse consultations to racking and automation solutions, they deliver proven, reliable technologies built to support your operations now and scale with you as you grow. To learn more, visit storage-solutions.com. As usual, our DC Velocity senior editors Ben Ames and Victoria Kickham will be along to provide their insights into the top stories of this week. But to begin today, this past Tuesday, the material handling industry recognized the 12th annual National Forklift Safety Day. Sponsored by the Industrial Truck Association, the highlight of the day was a series of presentations on safety held at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. Brett Wood is the chair this year of the Industrial Truck Association, better known as ITA. In his daytime job, Brett is the president and CEO of Toyota Material Handling North America. He and I spoke after the National Forklift Safety Day event. Here's our conversation. Welcome, Brett. It's good to have you with us on Logistics Matters today.
Thank you very much for having me, Dave.
Brett, for those who are not familiar with the Industrial Truck Association, can you share about the organization and its mission?
Absolutely. So for more than 70 years now, the Industrial Truck Association has been the leading organization of industrial truck manufacturers, but also of suppliers of components and parts and accessories that go into the forklift. And we cover business in the United States, Canada, and Mexico for the ITA. ITA is based in Washington, D.C., and because of that, they maintain a very influential voice in international standards development for the industry. And the organization also advances engineering practices to promote safe products, disseminate statistical marketplace information, which all the members find very valuable, and provides industry forums for learning and also for networking.
And I might say that it's one of the most influential and productive organizations and associations within our industry. And the ITA just experienced the 12th National Forklift Safety Day, which is something that ITA sponsors every year. Brett, how did it begin and what are the goals of this annual event?
Yeah, so the Industrial Truck Association created National Forklift Safety Day back in 2014 as a unified industry initiative to really promote safety and highlight the importance of operator training. It's definitely a unique opportunity for companies across the industry to come together. We all put aside our individual business interests and collectively emphasize the critical role of safety and ongoing operator education. And historically, our industry's really come a long way. The law requiring forklift operator training, which was adopted by OSHA in 1998, has now been in effect for more than 25 years. And I'm especially proud of ITA's continued partnership with OSHA. We do training seminars from our ITA members to help train OSHA's compliance officers about the safe use of forklifts. Matter of fact, this compliance officer training program has now reached over 1,200 OSHA inspectors all across the country in every OSHA region. So this is really a powerful example of how our industry and our government can work together, not in silos, but side by side for the safety of American workers, especially working around our forklifts. And speaking of that, I mean, there's a lot of forklifts in operation. We estimate there's probably more than 2 million forklifts in operation every day, and thousands of new operators entering our workforce each year. So the importance of proper training and a safety culture has never been more urgent. So I'm really grateful to see that OSHA representatives were with us and part of National Forklift Safety Day this week in Washington, D.C., that OSHA supported our longstanding relationship, and we celebrated together, really, the 12th anniversary of National Forklift Safety Day. And we're excited to continue the training sessions and excited to continue National Forklift Safety Day again next year.
Brett, what happened on Tuesday in Washington? You had an event in Washington, but there were also events elsewhere around the country. And even the idea of National Forklift Safety Day has spread internationally with other regions of the world adopting similar programs for their countries.
Yeah, that's true. So the actual day of the event, it was hosted there in Washington, D.C. Several attendees came to the live event, but then also we had an online audience, several hundred people logged in online. And that element has really allowed us to reach even a broader audience than we did before the online application. So that was nice. And then around the country, many other OEM manufacturers and even dealers, forklift dealers, hosted events, had training sessions, rallied around this awareness and spirit of safety that we've been trying to promote with the second Tuesday of every June being our National Forklift Safety Day. And then you mentioned the international aspect, which, well, I'm really excited about, because now we're seeing countries like Japan, Australia, UK, some European countries, and now China too. Now they're starting to have their own safety day, and even I heard about a safety week. So I got to admit, one of my dreams someday would be an international safety day where we could all work together to raise the awareness of International Forklift Safety Day. That would be fun. That would be nice.
That's a nice goal to work towards.
Yeah, and the event is great and is nice, but I do want to emphasize, safety isn't about what happens once a year. It's about what happens every shift, every turn of a forklift, every lift of a forklift. Literally, it's about checking your blind spots. It's about slowing down instead of rushing. Every move matters is something we've been starting to say, and because every life matters. So, forklifts, they literally serve as an office for millions of operators, as I mentioned. That's their office. And millions of people come in proximity to forklifts too. So we want all those people to go home safe every night to their families. So it can't be just about this day or this week. It's important, I think, to emphasize that operator safety is an every day, every minute, initiative, and something we should all think about.
And of course, the purpose of National Forklift Safety Day is to draw attention to safety. Has the added attention resulted in safer working environments? And if so, why?
Yes, it has improved the safety results. Safe operators are more efficient even and more productive, and we're seeing that at a lot of customers. And the reason why is actually threefold, or a combination of reasons. One is around the awareness and the attention that events like we had this week, but when I visit customers, I love to see posters and signs and elements in the customer's application that constantly remind their employees and their operators about safety. So awareness and attention is one. Secondly, we can't emphasize the importance enough about operator training. And it's a law. Every person that drives a forklift has to be specially trained for that forklift, for that type of forklift. So if you drive different types of forklifts, you need to be trained even on different types, whether it's electric powered or engine powered or a reach truck or a sit down counterbalance type of truck. And so operator training is paramount. And then thirdly, the advancements in technology have just been tremendous. It's amazing, my 35 years in the industry, what's happened with new technology, whether it's coming from the automotive industry or other industries coming into our material handling world, has really made it exciting to see that advancements in new designs are now really focusing nicely on safety.
You just mentioned those innovations and features that have been put into forklifts. The manufacturers have placed those into their products. Can you share some examples of what types of features are being placed into vehicles now today to enhance operator safety?
Sure. So today, like I said, forklifts are designed with safety in mind. You've got systems around active stability features that helps reduce tip overs of forklifts risks. And there's operator presence sensing systems that ensures the forklift only operates when the operator is seated properly. There's pedestrian detection technology. There's systems that they're called Sense and Sense Plus that can actually sense when an object is near the forklift or a pedestrian is near, or even if the pedestrian is behind the truck, it can now provide alerts. It can automatically control the speed of the forklift if needed. So, some of this technology is really amazing. It can be automatic. It can be warning buzzers telling the forklift driver that, like I said, there is pedestrians nearby. It can tie into their warehouse type systems like iWarehouse or Object Sense that it can maximize, their labor rate. It can, improve their data and their efficiency. Not just, being a safe operator, but also being an efficient operator. There's a lot of technology that's just really, really helping the operator and helping the customer with their forklift use.
And as you mentioned, a lot of them, our listeners might be familiar with the kind of technology in their automobiles. A lot of that has migrated over to what's happening in forklifts.
So true. And I think we'll see even more of it into the future.
Brett, how can someone view the presentation from this past Tuesday's event in Washington if they would like to see some of what took place at National Forklift Safety Day?
Yeah, so the Industrial Truck Association, the ITA, will make the presentations and the videos from this year's National Forklift Safety Day available online. So you can go online to www.indtrk.org. So it's kind of like an industrial truck, indtrk.org. We think that it'll all be posted within the next 2 weeks. So probably around by June 25th. Take a look for that. The whole event was recorded on video so that someone could watch it later on if they missed it on Tuesday. And I'd encourage anyone involved in logistics or safety or material handling or who uses or comes in contact with forklifts on a regular basis to view it. I think it'd be a great opportunity, maybe have their team watch it together. It's a rare chance to hear directly from safety experts, policymakers, engineers, to hear from OSHA, the OSHA leaders, the frontline leaders who are shaping the future of forklift safety. It's a great way to keep this conversation going a year round, not just around this week. And, like I said, I've spent more than 3 decades in this industry, and what really continues to inspire me year after year is it's not just the equipment we build, but the people behind it. So watching this material, hopefully you'll get a sense for the engineers, the operators, the warehouse associates, the safety managers, the trainers, the leaders, everyone, the people who show up and do the work and look out for each other every day. And the industry is not just built on machines. It's powered by the people. And when we put the people first, safety will follow. And when we train with care, we will lead definitely with integrity. And when we act like every move matters, then we create a culture that truly does matter.
Well said. And a note to our listeners that we will put in the website for the Industrial Truck Association in the podcast notes section. So whatever platform you're looking, if you go to the notes section, you'll be able to see a direct link to the Industrial Truck Association website. We have been talking to Brett Wood today. He's the chair this year of the Industrial Truck Association, and he's also the president and CEO of Toyota Material Handling North America. Brett, I've known you for a long time. Thanks again for being with us. It's always a pleasure.
You're very welcome. I enjoyed talking to you. I can always talk a lot about forklifts and, of course, a lot about forklift safety. So thanks for having me.
Great to have you again. Now let's take a look at some of the other supply chain news from the week. Victoria, finding good qualified drivers for our nation's trucking fleets is never easy. Since I've covered this industry, we've been talking about driver shortages. But you came across something that could offer insights into the hiring process. Can you share more?
Yes, happy to, Dave. I saw a trucking industry report this week about hiring trends. Specifically, it gives insight and advice on how carriers can ensure they are getting the drivers they need when they need them. The information is from truck driving technology platform Tenstreet. This is a company that basically connects carriers and drivers through a variety of programs and applications for things like marketing, recruiting, onboarding, safety, fuel programs, that sort of thing. So the company analyzed information from its database of thousands of carriers and more than 1.5 million drivers. Essentially, they were trying to uncover some effective hiring practices for these uncertain times we're living in. And the key takeaway was that carriers looking to fill driver positions need to act faster when they identify candidates and ensure that their own hiring processes are efficient.
Well, Victoria, that seems logical. What were the trends or statistics in their data that pointed to those results?
Yeah, that's right. So they found that carriers in their network that responded to driver applications within 5 minutes see a 6.2% hiring rate, which is nearly double the platform average of 3.7%. So that speaks to the need for action. But they also found that when the hiring process extends beyond the platform average of 10 to 15 days, that hiring rates drop by up to 50%. So it's really important to make sure the hiring process is efficient. Now, they said that process delays always impact hiring rates, and that's regardless of whether those delays stem from the carrier or the driver. But it's clearly in the best interest of the carrier to have their processes buttoned up, so to speak. The research also identified patterns in the types of jobs that are most in demand among truck drivers these days. They found that drivers are submitting more applications to larger fleets as opposed to smaller ones. They identify smaller ones as those with fewer than 50 trucks. And they also found that applicants are more interested in private fleets as opposed to for hire fleets. And our listeners, I'm sure, understand this, but private fleets are essentially in-house company fleets, and for-hire fleets are your more traditional trucking companies. So just uncovering some interesting trends there.
That is very interesting, and I imagine probably pay and working conditions have something to do with the trends and the preferences of those drivers in being hired.
I'm sure, yes.
Thank you, Victoria.
You're welcome.
And Ben, we have seen how artificial intelligence is affecting work in so many aspects. And you reported this week about some new research looking at the future of manufacturing with AI and automation. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, I'm glad to. This was something that we learned about recently. It's a new effort from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, of course. And it was an initiative that the school had launched a couple weeks ago called the Initiative for New Manufacturing, INM. And MIT says the goal with that is to help transform the nation's industrial base by advancing the future of what they call the new manufacturing, alongside some related ideas in workforce training, advanced technologies, and industry collaboration. So in this context, that part about industry collaboration means that the MIT initiative includes a group of 6 founding industry consortium members from the business world. They are Amgen, Flex, GE Vernova, PTC, Sanofi, and Siemens. And the plan is for those 6 businesses to work closely with MIT researchers and educators and one another to support projects that, as you said, apply AI, machine automation, and new system-level approaches to manufacturing. And through that approach, the partners hope to reimagine industrial production overall and try to drive innovation through advanced technologies and strengthen U.S. manufacturing competitiveness.
Ben, that's all very interesting. And we've been hearing a lot lately about moving more manufacturing back into the US instead of doing so much of it overseas. Did MIT explain exactly how those companies would work with the school to advance bringing manufacturing more home?
Yeah, they did. Now this is new, of course. So this is sort of the plans here, but there are a couple examples that show how it might work. First was an example with Flex. That's one of those 6 partners. Flex is a global contract manufacturer. And so the MIT plans to, through this initiative, establish new labs to develop advanced manufacturing tools and techniques through an MIT, what they call Factory Observatory program. Students will gain hands-on experience by visiting Flex's production sites. And in addition, Flex will host MIT faculty and researchers and its master's students at one of its facilities in Brazil, where those visitors will have the opportunity to work with the company's R&D institute that's focused on developing tech solutions for electronics manufacturing. A second example has to do with Siemens, another one of those 6 partners, who mentioned that this effort comes at a time when manufacturing, in their description, is once again becoming a strategic capability in the US, following decades of industrial offshoring. So over the next 3 years, Siemens said it has pledged to contribute $1.5 million to fund research and innovation and training through this MIT initiative, saying that approach will serve as a national test bed and a knowledge hub for U.S. reindustrialization. So that's the plan, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Certainly will be. And it all sounds very good and will hopefully help to plant some seeds for increased manufacturing here at home.
There's a lot to be gained from the approach, yeah.
Thank you, Ben.
Glad to.
We encourage listeners to go to dcvelocity.com for more on these and other supply chain stories. Also, check out the podcast notes section for some direct links to read more about the topics that we discussed today. And we'd like to thank Brett Wood of the Industrial Truck Association and Toyota for being our guest. We welcome your comments on this topic and our other stories. You can email us at podcast@agilebme.com. We also encourage you to subscribe to Logistics Matters at your favorite podcast platform. Our new episodes are uploaded on Fridays. And a reminder that Logistics Matters is sponsored by Storage Solutions. Storage Solutions, a Young Heinrich company, is a leading intralogistics integrator, helping companies design scalable, tailored solutions. From warehouse consultations to racking and automation solutions, they deliver proven, reliable technologies built to support your operations now and scale with you as you grow. To learn more, visit storage-solutions.com. We'll be back again next week with another edition of Logistics Matters. Be sure to join us. Until then, have a great week.